Hi everybody, James here. Whenever you're watching this, Happy New Year's, Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whichever one. Don't really give a fuck if you want to be honest. But nevertheless, today we're going to be going over Finn McKenty. Since it's been about a year since his departure.
So are you done with YouTube, or are you?
I don't have any plans to do anything on YouTube. Because I don't really have any interest in music. So I was just doing it for the money, and I hit my financial goals.
I feel it's been about a good amount of time to kind of digest, process, like what he said, how he said in a way. Yeah, because that was a pretty abrupt kind of thing.
I was just doing it for the money.
Wouldn't say it's the correct things to say, but like I said, we're gonna go over about that. Because specifically, a few months prior to him talking about leaving at Jesse Lee, he did mention, at least in a couple of videos, that he had no motivation anymore, and I totally get that. I really do. Having to do something consistently, and if you don't continue, you're not gonna have food on the table. Especially, I want to say, I had a family of 3, so definitely having to do something over and over again and constantly being critiqued by the internet. If you caveat to something else, your dinner tomorrow could go away. So I can definitely feel that, like that constant pressure over and over again, especially over something that you've done so many times. There's only so many times you could skin a cat, honestly. So I definitely get where he kind of came from on his decline. However, I will note the decline I can understand. The exit I kind of don't agree with too much, because the thing is, there was a better way, in a sense. I would argue there was a better way. Look at Nick Nocturnal. He has mentioned, I want to say at least a couple of times, that he gets burnt out, and he has mentioned that he got burnt out. I want to say earlier this year, I believe. He's mentioned that he got burnt out, and then of course for some time, I want to say a month-ish, he took a little hiatus from YouTube. He came back with white hair and a new hairdo, and I think it was pretty cool. It was definitely something new. But when it comes specifically to Finn McKenty, let's go back. I feel like there was a more correct way to go about leaving YouTube, really. It was, like I said, his was kind of abrupt. Nick was a lot more personable. So with me and Finn McKenty, coming on as a fan, I want to say 2018 or 2019. So been watching him for a few years. I remember, I don't know if it was how they got big with Bring Me the Horizon. I don't know if that was the one that like was the first video I watched, but I do remember, like, pre-COVID, I would watch him almost consistently, honestly. But I do remember my favorite ones was like how they got big. If I remember correctly, it was Bring Me the Horizon, A Day to Remember, and Fall Out Boy. I feel like one thing he definitely used to gain a lot of popularity and a lot of trust was his background, in a sense. Because the thing is, for at least once a video, sometimes even twice, he would mention how he was basically there, in a sense, and he knew this person that knew this other person that did this, or he knew this one person that managed this band, or he was very well connected, and I can kind of see how that would basically grant trust, in a sense. I think he actually used that a lot to his advantage, not saying in a bad way, because the thing is, if someone were to tell me, hey, I know a lot about this one thing, it's like, okay, how do you know a lot about this one thing? Oh, it's because of I knew this person, I worked with this person, I did this, I did that, and he had a pretty extensive fucking resume, to be honest. So I can honestly understand how he knew kind of what he was talking about. Or no, my bad, that is a different point. What I meant to say was how he gained so much trust was because he was already there when everything was going down, you know what I mean? So I think that's how he gained trust. How he knew everything, that's a completely different point. That's something he has mentioned himself, that he would just go based off of Wikipedia. Would not have that as a primary source. Primary source myself would not use Wikipedia for that. I understand for the good part. Wikipedia means well. I wouldn't say majority of Wikipedia is incorrect. However, if you're gonna do something and basically hold a good amount of credibility to your points, I would not recommend Wikipedia. I would actually recommend doing the research yourself, not going into a secondary source. That's just me, because the thing is, Wikipedia has been known to, well, I mean, honestly, just in general, Wikipedia itself is a secondary source. It is not a primary source. If it was going to be something where it didn't really matter too much on you being correct or not, yeah, sure, Wikipedia is a good source. It does not really matter. However, like I said, when it comes to, hey, I have credibility from my past, I know I should be in this conversation. Hey, I should be in this conversation because I know stuff and it's credible. This should not be Wikipedia. This should be your own damn research on something, or you were there as a primary source. That's why I said I would not use Wikipedia. And he has mentioned that he used Wikipedia. I want to say even for System of a Down that he has never listened to. Yeah, would not recommend Wikipedia. Not saying it's a bad source, just wouldn't be used as a primary source. But even with all those videos, like how they got big and everything, that kind of inspired me to do some music. Yeah, like I said, I was a fan of him for a good amount of years. I would be lying if he said he wasn't partially a reason why I even started doing videos in the first place. He's not the reason why I started James' vocal cover in general, no, but when it comes to like how I approach like putting the thumbnails or like whatever to videos and everything like that, yeah, he had a part of it. So I'm not saying he wasn't like nothing to me, but it kind of hurt a lot more because of that, because I let him in. It hurt a lot more. All right, and that brings me to my last point, honestly, with Finn McKenty. I think it was a mixture of him honestly not caring too much about it, and I wouldn't put that as too much, honestly, because the thing is, he has mentioned that you know, like even I said with System of a Down, he had no interest in System of a Down. Like, he's never heard of that. I mean, he's heard of the band, of course, but like their music, that I would say is a pretty weird thing. That's a weird thing to say, I would argue, just because if you're gonna be into metal a lot, or at least claim that you're into metal a lot, and even with him, it wasn't claiming, like, he has been into metal a lot, like, you know, like I said, in pictures and everything like that, but you never listen to System of a Down. That's the part I don't really get. That's the thing I don't really understand a little too much, or all that much, honestly. I don't really get it, but apparently he never listened to System of a Down prior. I don't know, maybe he has, maybe he hasn't as of today. Don't really know, don't really care. But like I said, mixture of him not liking it too much, because the thing is, like, even if you're gonna have a certain type of way of going, it's always gonna have to be like that, honestly, because the thing is, even with just that way of life, honestly, I can honestly see it being how it can burn out a lot of people. And like, even with me, having to do something over and over again, and you're not thrilled about it even in the slightest, it burns out. It's not a new thing. It's surely not, and it's everywhere. It's happened to me a lot of times when I'm at work. It's happened to other YouTubers, like Nick Nocturnal, of course, like we mentioned, Matt Pat from Film Theory, Game Theory. He's got burnt out. He hasn't retired in the slightest, but like, even bands like Asking Alexandria has been burnt out. So it's truly not a new concept. I don't know why a lot of people get surprised when an artist or some type of entertainer says that they're burnt out. They're like, oh my god, how? It's like, it's really not that new of a concept. I'm surprised no one's really gone through that, in a sense. But yeah, it's truly not that new of a concept. But nevertheless, I digress. It's a mixture of both of them. Like I said, like, you're doing one thing for over and over, it's going to cause burnout. And then honestly, the burnt out where you really just don't care about anything. So I think it was a mixture of both of them. Don't really know how much exactly of a little bit more of this and this, or a little bit more of that than that. Don't really know what the mixtures of were each of them, but I do feel it was a little bit of both, at least a little bit of both, that caused him to say he does not care anymore, or he does not care about music, and he never did, according to him. So yeah, really think it was a combination, to be honest, but that's what I think. What do y'all think? Tell me down in the comments, and catch you guys later. Bye guys.
I was just doing it for the money.